Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. Before we get to the main forecast, I want to bring you an update on the latest drought monitor as it is looking at what has happened over this last week, and that goes through Tuesday in regards to the dryness issues that have been enveloping some portions of the western Corn Belt and eastern Corn Belt, along with some very welcome rainfall in portions of the eastern Corn Belt and the western Corn Belt. So let's take a look at the latest graphics for the drought monitor. And what you will notice is that we have a pretty expansive area of abnormally dry conditions with a couple pockets of moderate drought conditions introduced, particularly in central and south central portions of Iowa. Again, we have some up in the Black Hills with moderate drought conditions, and they're actually pushing down southward into the northern Panhandle, where we have seen an absence of significant moisture for the better part of the last 40 days. And we have a couple pockets in south central and southeast Nebraska that missed out on the heavy precipitation from last Friday night and Saturday morning, which basically made it to the I-80 corridor and fizzled out. These areas have seen a trend of less than 50% of normal precipitation over the last 30 days, but we are still fairly close to normal as we go to 60 and 90 days, and that's the reason we haven't seen the rapid introduction of abnormally dry conditions and drought conditions into Nebraska. However, if we continue this trend over the next couple of weeks, expect to see massive expansion across the state. But the good news is we do have a couple systems that are poised to move through the region that are offering us some significant precipitation chances as we go through this next 7-day period. So if we look at the upper air model, the first thing that we're looking at is this upper air low that's crossing once again the northern plains and is expected to intensify as it gets to the Great Lakes. So it's going to be pushing a surface cold front through the plains. Looks like the majority of the convection will be in the Dakotas, with the trailing end of this cold front moving through northern Nebraska. That's where we will see more scattered convection, probably going to hit more of north central northeast Nebraska, lesser chances to get toward the Kansas border. As we get into Sunday, this system moves over toward the Great Lakes, starts to deepen, so we could see some scattered convection along this intersection zone between the air masses to the north and to the south. And so we get some isolated thunderstorm possibilities on Sunday, but more importantly, as we get into Monday, this system starts to intensify and deepen, and that's going to push some of this cool air back toward the southwest. So we're going to see a convergence zone from the Minnesota through northern portions of Illinois, where we'll see scattered convection on Monday. But more importantly, as we get to Tuesday, the system starts to deepen and pushing back toward the west, and another piece of energy rotating around this upper air low will start to make its way through our region in the northwest flow, generating heavy thunderstorm activity. And right now, the best area for heavy storms is from north central Nebraska through southeast Nebraska. And that will continue on to Wednesday as we see the system really crank itself up. So there looks to be a widespread precipitation event through the western Corn Belt and across the southern portions of the eastern Corn Belt. As we go into Thursday, we still see some residual activity around western portions of this trough, which includes western Iowa and eastern Nebraska. And then as we go into Friday, we start to see the system lifting back toward the east, and we'll start to see the warm air come into our region. So that leaves us with an 8 to 14-day forecast that indicates the warmth returns in terms of precipitation, dry to the north, wet to the south.